My name is Thejus Chakravarthy. I am an e-learning e-learning specialist, e-learning senior developer for Venable, which is a law firm in Baltimore. And I've been at that position for about 9 months.
What it is you do in your work?
So right now, Venable is slowly transitioning towards using a lot more online training. So right now I'm sort of helping put that sort of transition together. So they're going from a lot of in-person, bank model slide decks to animations and video, things that can be delivered mobile and otherwise. So for the most part, my job entails doing that sort of work, taking their pre-existing training and converting it into something a little bit more active, or basically putting together something very quick that's used for more of a proof of concept for some of the lawyers, that you can receive training in a video on your cell phone as opposed to having to go to a class. So it's a lot of that kind of thing.
Okay.
So for the most part, it's become really useful to have the theory background as opposed to having to just argue from the sake of, oh, look, it's shiny, oh, look, it's video. It makes sense to be able to say, well, the higher fidelity will result in faster retention. We can, enhance some of your educational challenges, address some of your educational challenges by enhancing the fidelity of the content. And being able to, in the back of my head, know, okay, if I don't know how to answer that question, I'm sure I have a textbook somewhere that will tell me where to reference and answer that question more intelligently. In the current position, a lot of the work that I do revolves around prototyping and revolves around the standard design cycle, which, oddly enough, based on my career in the field, is actually a rarity. This current position really does adhere pretty solidly to the ADDIE model, and so my background in the ADDIE model, from not just a purely theoretical, but also from a practice perspective, has become very handy. And I use it in almost I'd say a daily basis. Specifically, we have a project that we're trying to launch. It's trying to happen sometime in the next 2-3 weeks. But there's been delays on the side of the SMEs. And nonetheless, we're still managing to stick to our framework of ADDIE by using some of the other tips and tricks that I learned from things like Chuck O'Dell's book, which I still keep at my desk at work. Well, for the most part, I'd say that it was transitioning from an individual contributor role to more of a leadership role during my time at Bravo Health. So going from simply producing e-learning packages that were, handed down and we need to have this training, so we're going to do it this way, and to get to the point where I could dictate things like, okay, so let's see if the training is the best solution in this case. Let's see if there's another instructional intervention we could use at some point to actually be able to do more of the systems design part of instructional systems design. That was probably the most life-changing, probably the most inspirational shift in my career, and that happened pretty soon after I left UMBC. Probably the best part is the breadth of abilities that being in the ISD actually requires of you. So if you're an ISD, you can't necessarily rest on your laurels as a Captivate developer. You have to be good at Storyline, you have to be good at Camtasia, you have to be good at Premiere and Audition and any number of assorted tools. You have to be aware of things like usability design. You have to be aware of things like like user experience. There's a huge variety of things that can impact the way people learn. Least of all, something even simple as basic as motivation. So ISD forces you to be more active in multiple fields and to be more concerned with the holistic approach. And I think that's probably the best part about being in the field. Again, I think it goes back to talking about theory, and sometimes being able to back that theory up with research. So rather than simply having an opinion, I have an informed opinion. And sometimes saying that I've got my master's degree from the ISD department at UMBC has actually opened doors where simply saying I have a master's may not have. The ISD program here at UMBC has actually been pivotal in me finding positions, in me filling positions, when I was in the leadership role, actually filling positions from the ISD department. It's really helped in terms of validating my experience and validating my knowledge by being able to pull from the educational background. I would honestly say the thing I liked the most was the projects. To have a start, middle, and an end to a project, to have the ability to work with other students, the ability to lean on the experience of my professors in sort of a guided way, as opposed to being, sit in the class, listen to what they're saying, and be done with it, and then pass the exam because you remembered exactly what they said. To have a challenge put before me, and to be able to say, well, how would I address this? Well, here's the tools. Come address it together as a group. Also, the opportunity I had to be a TA was really kind of educational in and of itself, to be able to not just think about my own method of education, but how do I educate somebody who's learning how to educate. So that was a great little part as well. Definitely do it. If you care about education, if you care about being constantly challenged, if you care about, for lack of a better term, lack of better phrasing, if you care about having a job, really. The field is wide open. There's plenty of growth in it. There's people from all different, attacking the ISD field from all kinds of different angles. And I've never, since my time at UMBC, never once had to worry about finding a position. I only had to worry about what challenge I wanted to take on next. So the main reason why I chose the ISD program was because I went to one of the forums, and after the forum, after the presentations were done during the networking part of it, I actually talked to the director, Dr. Williams, at the time. And basically, based on how intellectually stimulating the conversation was, it inspired me to actually apply for a master's. Because until that point, I was kind of, after finished my bachelor's, I was working, I wasn't really inspired in any direction. And Dr. Rodenbush, who was one of my professors during my undergraduate, actually recommended the forum. And I was so inspired and so intellectually stimulated that at that point I decided I was going to apply for a master's. It definitely helped me get my foot in the door right out of the gate. To be able to have at least 2 or 3 work samples as soon as I finished my master's was critical to getting my first position. And since then, having to just replace or update those components has also helped, as opposed to having to build one from scratch. There have been a few times when having a portfolio was the difference between going to the second round of interviews or not even getting the first interview. And there were other times when having a portfolio was almost inconsequential. There have been times when it's just been like, oh, the fact you have one is all we care about. We don't care about the components in it, but the fact that you have something that proves that you know what you're doing and shows an output is more important sometimes than having the specific kind of output they're looking for. I would say probably the most important thing about the master's program is the fact that it is career-oriented. There's no way to get that kind of experience outside of a program that focuses on work. So you're not necessarily being deluged with theory. You're actually doing things in practice. And to be able to take that practice and apply it to the workplace, to be able to seamlessly transition from bright-eyed student to actual worker faster than anybody else in any of your peers, anybody else in the field, is probably definitely a leg up, definitely useful. So the thing I liked the most was actually how much fun it was. It was a great experience. It was 2 years of fun, 2 years of learning and educating myself and being educated by others. But the most important thing about the program, in my eyes at least, is that it's not just an educational program. It's actually a community. There's actually a lot of connection of great minds from all kinds of places, doing all kinds of different things. From Greg Walsh doing really technical stuff to Steve Sugar doing really like low fidelity but high impact training. It's a community, and if it wasn't for the community that was built out by the ISD program, I don't think instructional systems design would even be as much of a watchword in the area. So that's, I think, really the most important thing about this program.